Hello, this is Victor. I'm here with Tom Adriany. I think he's part of the Belgium national team for the ETC, and is also part of his chairman on the ETC. If you
Yeah.
want to introduce a little bit yourself.
So yeah, I've been playing like for 12 years now, I think, 40K. I started because my cousin's boyfriend had like these miniatures at home, and once I came to her place, and yeah, he was playing a game with his friends, and I was intrigued, so I was just going off over to his place like the week after to like have an introduction game or whatever. And from then on, I was hooked basically. So I started with second edition, and yeah, I've been playing ever since. Met so many great people over the years that I started doing tournaments. Met some more great people there, and yeah, I got into it a lot more. And then due to the fancy guys, I got into the ETC, so that opened up my tournament playing to a whole different level. So
Okay,
quite nice to be in this hobby. I met
nice.
so many great people like you, so many great friends that I think I will never stop playing this hobby.
Right.
So
So yeah, I know that I think your favorite army is orcs.
hmm
Did you play all the armies in 40k or?
well, at some point I think I had like 10 armies, but yeah, it was just crazy. So I just sold most of them off, and I stuck to 3 or 4. So at the moment it's orcs. I will never sell them. I will always play orcs. And then I have some demons now. I have some Tau, and I have a bit of Grey Knights left, and I also have like some Chaos Space Marines and Necrons.
Okay.
So that's what I have at the moment. But at some point I had almost every army out there. So
Right. No, and now, yeah, based on your experience in 40k, and also your thing, you are organizing tournaments here in Belgium.
mhm.
How you see the health of the Warhammer 40k?
Well, on the one hand, I think it's really healthy because I think people have never had this much fun on tournaments. Like the last year and a half since sixth edition came in, I think the thing that people get out of the hobby is a little bit better. Some stuff is more random, so some people feel like they have more chances
Yeah.
versus some builds and some people than before. But I think attendance is declining. So people are coming less and less to tournaments, where before we had like 60 people, it's now like 40. So you see a decline, but I think it's a more fun game than it was before.
Okay.
So
And do you think this declining is because of the new rules in sixth edition, or because of the new codex that we?
I think it's because of the interactions between armies. So, like my demons, I can make them very hard to play, and if you encounter that at a tournament for the first time and
Yeah.
I don't give you anything, it's just very demoralizing. So I think a lot of players are like held back by that. They're like, okay, I don't want to play
Okay.
tournaments like this. So I think it's just the way armies interact. Sometimes you just get a game where you cannot do anything
Okay.
because of some bad matchup or whatever. So, and I think just a lot of people step away from that
Yeah, because I
because of
guess
that
if
reason.
it's your first tournament and then you have in front a Grimstar army or
Or Tau
Beastpack
player,
army,
or
then
yeah,
you are brought from the table in turn three, then
yeah,
you are pissed off.
yeah. It's just not a very good game. You know, you come into this expecting a fun, challenging game, and you just don't get that sometimes in sixth edition.
Okay.
So, and that's a pity, but I understand why people drop out.
Okay.
But in terms of having fun in the game, I think sixth is a lot better than fifth. So.
And then how you see 7th edition coming up? Based on the rumors we have seen that there is a new secret phase and
Yeah.
all the rules that we is now leaking in the internet, do you see that it's going to be better option than 6th edition or?
Well, I think they needed like the psychic phase thing because a lot of these psychic powers were out of phase. So some were in the movement, some in the shooting, some in the assault phase. So the way they interacted were sometimes weird. So it's good that they put it into one phase. But yeah, the timing of seventh is just really bad. I think 2 years into a new edition, coming with a new rule book, I'm not so much of a fan of it. And then also how these new Psyche power things work. I can see why it was necessary maybe to stop some builds, but I think it will change the game too much that it's not really to my liking. So other than that, I think all the other rumors that are out there, like -2 ballistic skill on flyers, -2 on your cover save, and you have ignore cover, are better to balance the game. So I think it will be a more balanced game, but yeah,
Yeah, some rules for me remind me a little bit second edition.
Yes.
We start having modifiers on the shooting phase that they want to
Yes.
eliminate in the third edition.
Yeah. You also have these.
We start having the psychic phase again,
Yeah,
and
you
that
have
was
these
eliminated.
cards, these mission cards
Yeah,
that you had in second edition. Like I remember this outflank mission card that could win you the game. So yeah, but I think they just had more random elements to the game. Where I think like a competitive player like me, it will just be annoying when you have the wrong card at the wrong time and your opponent has the right card at the right time and you cannot win the game just because he drew a card. You know, for me that will suck because your skill as a player is not influence the game as much as the luck you have with certain roles or certain
yeah,
cards.
but
So
on the other side, maybe new players can have more chances to do something
yes,
in the game.
yeah, true, true, true.
It's
But
just okay.
it's the same thing as why people are dropping out. If I encounter 10 times in a tournament where my player is a lot worse than me or not as good as me tactically, but he still wins the game, I will be annoyed, you know.
Yeah,
So maybe
yeah,
I will drop out in
yeah.
seven.
I understand.
So yeah.
But do you think the in tournaments we will see this random mission, or we will see more standard configuration with fixed
Well,
missions
well,
and try to
we're
balance the both sides?
So I think you just have the 6 standard missions from now, and then 6 new missions, which are basically just take and hold like before. So and then just with the random cards, I think we will just stick to the 6 basic missions we know now for tournaments. But we still have to see the rules. Maybe something will prop up that's still
Okay.
doable. Maybe we can just shift in the cards and instead of using 36, use 12 of them or something like that. We will see. But I'm not very positive on that aspect. I think it will just be too random.
Okay.
It's good for a fun game, for a
Yeah.
good game, but for a tournament,
Yeah, for me, for as a casual gamer,
yeah.
I like this random part. I
Uh-huh.
like this craziness that is changing the mission in the
Well,
middle of
I
the
play
battle.
Demon, so I love random stuff as well, but I don't like it when it costs me the game when you cannot do
Yeah,
much
just
about it,
with
you know?
one roll of dice.
Exactly. It's bad enough that I have the War Store table to deal with. It's even worse when I have these cards and stuff. So,
I
well,
understand.
yeah, it just I like to have a feeling that I can control the game at some point, and I think what they're moving to with seventh and maybe eighth edition is they're moving away from that. So, and I think that's a pity.
Okay,
Yeah.
I understand.
Mm.
The other rumor is that the deep weapons will be, at least you will have invulnerable save
Saves, yeah.
against deep weapons. I think maybe this will open the option to have Lords of War in tournaments, or you think they will start being uh, common on
Yeah,
tournaments?
I think they were also fine now, like the Imperial Knight. I think it's a very good model, even when it was ignoring all kinds of saves. I think it was very balanced, very good for the game. Except these Revenant Titans, so I think they still don't have a place in a regular game because yeah, you just can't get through it, and it will still decide the game on turn 1 or 2. If you can't kill it, you're
Yeah.
just chanceless.
For me, I think the Revenant also is the combination with the incredible movement that it has. I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah,
moving
yeah.
36
6
inches,
inches, yeah.
so it can be in any part of the table.
Yeah, also the Stompa is just insane with all the shots it can put out. So yeah, I think those are not really good for having a good normal 40k game. I think people should discuss that beforehand and know what they're gonna face if you want to put Lords of War into the equation.
Okay.
Except the Imperial Knight. Like 1 or 2 Imperial Knights, it's still okay in an army. If you go to 5, that's a different story, but 1 or 2 is easily dealable.
So Codex Imperial Knights is not allowed in tournaments normally.
Um, we allow it in our tournament.
Yeah.
So we'll do the club championships in June, and we allow it. So
Okay. So you can go with the 5 Imperial Knights
yeah,
if you.
yeah,
Okay. No, this is with.
yeah. It won't win any missions,
Yeah.
so it's not that bad. So
Okay. And now, yeah, talking a little bit about ETC and what is
mhm,
ETC, how it was created, and how it's going on, and
yeah,
what is your role there? Because you're also chairman on ETC.
mhm,
I'm not clear what that means.
yeah. Okay, so the ETC was started, I think, like 6 to 8 years ago. It started in Poland. So Poland has a very large community, 40k community, and they started with it. I think they did 40k and fantasy. I think there were like 12 teams for each thing. And then year after it moved to Italy, I think, and then there was Germany, and so it picked up. A lot of more teams entered, so now it's very big. It's going to be held this summer for a second time in Serbia, and last year were like some 600 players attending. So there were like I think 34 teams for fantasy and like 30 teams for 40k. Now this year as well, they will do some Blood Bowl stuff, and there's Flames of War that
Okay.
came into the ETC last year. So we're always expanding. So it's getting really crazy proportions. Um, so the ETC is basically a country versus country event. So you have teams of a particular country where there's some rules involved, like at least 4 of your players should be from the country.
Okay.
You can have like 4 mercs because there are some countries that might not meet all the criteria
So I
to have
can
8
play
players.
with Belgium is
You
team.
could, yeah, you could, yeah. Technically, you could. But yeah, every country also has its selection process and the way they make up their team. So
Yeah.
our team would fix 8 Belgian players first before then going to look for mercs. So it's very difficult for mercs to get into our team. But yeah, it's just a very fun event to go to. So these teams get pitched against each other, and you win or lose as a team. So you
Okay.
do individual battles in a sort of pairing. So you have to like put up some armies, and then they can counter it with certain armies. So your team composition with the 8 players and the 8 armies needs to be well thought out. So that's a
Okay.
very difficult thing to get right. So countries that come into it for the first time, they really have a hard time to
To
get that across.
because I think that the pairing is you there's one team that is putting one army on
Yeah.
front and then the other team is
Yeah.
matching with another army and
Yes.
then is doing the other way around, no?
Yes, exactly. So you start with one champion for the round. So that's one army from each team that goes out of the equation, and they automatically meet each other. But you
Okay.
don't know which army until all the draws have been made.
Okay.
And then you do a toss, and the winner can decide to put an army forward or to counter an army.
Okay.
And like this, you have a whole matching process where you have like basically 2 or 3 mismatches. So 2 or 3 very tough games for your team, and then 2 or 3 that should go your way, and then 1 or 2 that's based on army comp that.
So you have to be careful because if your army have a very easy counter attack,
Yes.
then they
Yes.
will.
That's why you see that the ETC meta game is totally different from normal tournaments, because you can take like a gunline Tau, but it can be easily countered by screamers. So
Yeah.
you're like you have the best army out there that
Yeah.
wins all the tournaments, but it won't win anything at the ETC because it will get countered every time.
Okay.
So that's what you see each year. The countries who are more smart in their team comp, like the Swedish, they're very strong at that. They always take builds to counter certain armies, but they don't take the good armies. They always have something. So it's very difficult to pair against them because all their armies are a bit weird and dysfunctional in the meta
Okay.
game. So yeah, it's always very interesting to do that. And yeah, I think I became a chairman like 4 years ago, because when I joined the ETC, because of the fancy guys who got me into it, I saw that there was basically one guy for 40k, Pierre, one of the French guys, was doing everything. He was making FAQs, he was making rules back, he was organizing everything, and I saw it was just too much, so I decided to help him a little.
Okay.
And then the next year, he convinced me to run for chairman, which I did. I was like, okay, nobody knows me. I'm just a Belgian captain who comes here after 1 year, so I didn't expect that anybody would vote for me. But apparently some captains caught on, and yeah, one of the fancy guys put in a good word for me, so also some fancy captains voted for me. So I got into there. So for me, it was also a big surprise. And basically, a chairman is just he acts as the living memory of the ETC. So every year the ETC gets organized in a different country.
Yeah.
So this year it will be Serbia. Next year it will be Czechia. It's been held in Switzerland, in Germany, in Italy, in Poland. So every year it travels, but every year it's a different organization who has to start from scratch. So basically, the chairmen are just there to give their experience, what they lived with previous ETCs. So all the organizations can have a bit of a more easy job.
Yeah.
All the pitfalls that organizations have, or all the questions they have, they can come to the chairman with that.
Okay.
We're also the direct link between all the players, because the ETC is an event by the players for the players, and this organization. So all the info they have, we put that on the forums, we inform the captains. If there's stuff that needs to be decided, we consult the Combined Captain Council, we make them vote on a certain issue, then tell the organization that that's what they decided. So we're just like the communication link between those two parts of the ETC. So it's a lot of work. Yeah. It takes like 10 hours of my week easily. We have chairman meetings every 2 weeks now to discuss things, stuff like terrain, the catering,
Because the terrain is organized only by the country, or the different
yeah,
countries are bring some
it depends
help.
where it's held. Like in Switzerland, we imported some terrain from France, but now we're like in Serbia, it's difficult to get all the terrain there. So the Serbians have to make sure that they have enough terrain there themselves. So it also
Yeah,
needs to be quality terrain. So you cannot just put some stuff there. It needs to
yeah,
be good line of sight blockers, and we're now starting to work with some maps where we want to decide where everything is a bit more standardized between all the roads.
okay.
So they really have to
You
act
do,
on it.
yeah, maybe jump out of the ETC, but now that we talk about terrain, I see that some tournaments the terrain is very poor, and this
Mm-hmm.
is uh, driving a lot the meta of the tournament
Yeah.
or the
Mm-hmm.
armies. So I guess terrain is very important when you organize
Yeah.
ETC or any tournament
Mm-hmm.
to have the right set of terrain that you give opportunities to armies that are not that shooting that.
Yeah. When I organize a tournament, I always try to make sure that there's like one or two pieces of line of sight blocking on the table. But I also make sure that some tables are very heavy and some tables are very light. I think that's also a part of the pairing and the
Yeah.
luck of the draw that should be in there as well. That
Okay.
sometimes you play on an empty table or a bit more empty table, and sometimes you play on a heavy table. So I also do that on my tournaments. Even though I have the terrain to switch it up, I make
Okay.
sure everything is quite similar. I don't do that. I tend to not do that. So
Okay. So you have tables like a not there, but with a very poor terrain,
there's
very
terrain on
little.
there, but mostly area
Yeah.
terrain where you can't hide stuff or stuff, something like that.
Okay.
So I think that's part of the game.
Yeah.
So, but it's true that the quality of terrain is sometimes very influencing on the
Oh,
results.
okay.
But I think it's improving. Year by year, you see that more tournaments are having better terrain.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's much
Oh,
of
I
an
think
issue.
in Belgium the terrain is quite good in the
Yeah,
tournaments. I don't complain
yeah,
too much.
much. Yeah, it's worse in Spain or what?
I'm not a tournament
Tournament
player.
player. Yeah,
Depending a lot on who's organizing the terrain.
yeah.
There was a workshop that was have very nice terrain, and the guy liked to do terrain and have a lot of nice
Mm.
terrain. Then you go to clubs. The worst tournament I was playing in a table 4x4,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
There
then
was one like that in Antwerp
yeah,
as well. Yeah. Mhm.
and then yeah, you play against an army that is a little bit mobile. You are dead.
That in 2 turns. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I think yeah, you give a very nice view of ATC, and anything you would like to comment or
Yeah. So I would just like to say about the ETC is that a lot of people view it as like a pool of gamers who are very hardcore and just want to win at any cost. But I've been there for like 5 years now, and I've met so many great people who just want to have chill, laid back games. Okay, you have these countries who don't give you anything. That's
yeah.
also part of the game, I think. But I would invite everybody who's not into an ETC or into an ETC team to try and make a team because it's a very, very nice
But you can
experience.
make a team if you
Sometimes we have an uneven amount of teams and we have to make a mercenary team.
okay.
So then it's free for all for everybody. So also sometimes there's countries that have like 6 players only, so they're looking for 2 extra ones. So mostly then they ask the Polish community to give some mercs because
Okay.
they're with so many they can
Okay.
provide players easily. But it's very easy, I think, to make a team here or
Maybe
there.
one day I will
Yeah,
ask you to.
yeah.
How is just just curiosity? How you do the selection in Belgium? Because I see that you're sending messages that you're doing some tournaments, and this tournament is
Yeah.
scoring for the ETC and
So in the previous years when we started, it was just the 8 that wanted to go and told me they wanted to go, they went. But year by year, the rumor got out there that we were going to ETC and that was so much fun that people wanted to join and join and join. And it's been now so bad that we have like 20 to 30 aspirants to be on the team. We somehow have to select between them. So we made a whole system behind it this year that every month we have a training day um, where I'm the captain. So I will see the progress of people. I will see what affinity they have with certain armies. And then in January, I pick 4 players that will be on the team. And with these 4 players, we make the final 8. So we decide armies, 4 armies in January. So these 4 players that are selected, they choose an army that we will play with at the ETC. And then we choose the other 4 players based on what we're missing in the team composition. So that's the stage we're at now.
So you take the first the ones that you consider the best in this training, or the one that have better affinity with the army,
Yes,
and
it's a
then
mix of everything. So
you
it's their commitment to the training
yeah
days, their affinity with the army, their ability to play this certain army, and how I value them as a player and also
okay
as a person. So
okay.
because I think also
So
sportsmanship
is
is very
yeah.
important. So
So you don't want to have in the team this person that nobody wants to play with him.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think it's very important because we are a small country. We know we're not going to do all that well at ETC. Maybe like the first half of the table would be also already very good for us. But I don't want to do it at any cost. So I just want people that play against us to have good experience as well. So
And how many countries are normally in ETC? Just
well, some 30 teams.
30 teams.
Yeah, and it's rising every year. So there's some selection criteria as well for countries. So every year now we get like requests from San Marino, like Vatican City. So it's Team Italy 2. San Marino is like Team Faroe Islands is Team Denmark 2. So they want to get more people there, but we have to block that off because
Okay.
it's just obvious that it's just secondary teams who want to get there. Because, yeah, but more and more the ETC is gaining in popularity, and the Americans joined 3 years ago, so
Yeah.
or 4 years ago, so they're now going also every year. But America is very big,
Yeah.
while Europe is very small, so they also want to be able to send more teams. So that discussion already was
Yeah.
had a few times that they want to send more teams, but obviously it's just gonna stick to one. But it causes some problems for their selection as well because
Okay.
a lot of people want to come, but they don't get the chance to make the team. So yeah, but I think our selection process is very fair, but yeah, it's requires a lot of work from
Yeah,
the and commitment from the players at this point.
so okay. So it's a training once per month in
Once
you
per
do
month,
that
yeah.
in Leuven in the Leuven club
We do it all around
or
Belgium.
around
Yeah.
Belgium.
So the problem we have now is that there's not a lot of French-speaking people interested in ETC because we don't go there to play a lot. So that's something we're gonna do for next year is involve those guys more. So
Okay.
then there will be even more players to choose from. And the thing is that we start to bond. Before it was just little clubs from everywhere and
Yeah.
8 guys that wanted to be at ETC, but now everybody's banding together. We all do these training days together. We know each other a lot better than before, and it's just a tight bunch that just want to have fun together. So it's a great feeling.
So what I see is you see that Warhammer will last for time.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, I think so. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. For every tournament player, there's like hundreds or thousand casual players. So I think Games Workshop will still sell miniatures well after the tournament scene has died.
No,
Because
and I also for the players that we have invested a lot of money and time on
yeah,
our armies, so we don't want that this game is
yeah, of course, yeah.
very
But I think with their new rule sets, they're killing a part of my enthusiasm for the game.
yeah.
I think where it's going, I won't like it that much as I did in sixth. So I think
Okay.
six was a very fluent game that went very quick, and I think now, just to give you an example, this wound allocation that they have now, so every weapon shoots separately, just gonna slow the game down so much. So I don't like where all this is going. The psychic phase as well, so easy to counter some powers. I don't really like that.
I remember second edition was very slow
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because all the modifiers and
yeah,
third edition maybe was the fastest but too simple.
yeah. Yeah,
And now they're moving into more complex. For me, one thing that sometimes is difficult to manage is all the special rules on
yeah.
because
But
in each edition we have more special rules, and my problem is to remember
all of them.
all
Yeah,
them what they have.
that's the problem I have with this timing of seventh edition. 2 years into sixth, now I'm getting to the point where I'm really confident with the game and confident with the rules, and now they change to a new edition.
And for me, surprising, because
Yeah.
it's less than 2 years of
Yeah,
sixth edition.
it's just 2 years, I think, yeah, which is insane. I mean, they shouldn't make new rules every 2 years. But yeah, I think the thing that will convince me to keep playing the game is what they do with the orcs. I think
Okay.
if the orcs are good in seventh, I think I will continue to play. If they don't make them good, then I don't think I will be playing for very long.
Okay.
Because now as well for ETC, we've been spending a whole year training, practicing with sixth. We did a good job, I think. They improved a lot, and now they're changing everything, so we have to start from
And
scratch.
ETC will be in 7th edition or will keep 6
Yeah,
in the
there's
next?
votes going on at the moment between all the captains, and it's an even split. I think it's like 13-13. So I think half of the captains at least will be disappointed whichever way it goes. So it's very tough to know what will
Because
be
when is the
decided now.
next ETC?
In August,
It's quite
8, 9, 10.
stretch time to get
Yeah.
used to the 7th edition because
The thing is, 25th of May, the book gets released. By the 27th of June, all the army lists for all the teams have to be. So you have a bit more than 1 month to know the new rules, get your armies correct, make a new team composition, and then you have 1 month more to practice. So within 2 months, I think it's just too much. Especially for a little community like ours, we won't have encountered all the problems with the rules. We won't have seen all the good armies rise yet, so it will be very tough for us to compete, I think. So if we go, it will be more like in a fun setting and just to have fun than to really compete with the guys out there. Because I think if we stick to 6th, we would have a good chance to give a lot of countries good games. But now I just think we'll be smashed.
yeah, I think the countries that have time to prepare well the 7th edition.
It's just the big communities, you know, like the German community. They have tournaments of 100 players, you know. There, if you have a tournament, you get into these crazy situations that you get these into your head quicker, and you can work around them. Or if you encounter them, you can play into them. Or we won't see that, so it will set us back rules-wise and game-wise in what we want to do or what we can do. So I think these big communities just have a big advantage. They will see all the good armies rise as well, much quicker than we do, because they will have more players trying new stuff and looking at rules than we have. So I think those countries are just advantaged a lot from changing to 7 so quickly. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I have to see if we switch to 7th, if my guys want to go or not. So that's also not a given.
Yeah.
Because you spend so much money into buying a new army. Sometimes you buy a completely new army just
For
for
the
the
ETC.
ETC. Yeah. And now if
You also use display boards in the ETC to show the army, or is so it's a part of the gaming. It's also the painting and all
yes,
this.
so yeah, so one country, so one whole team, so the 8 armies gets nominated for best painted. So the last few years that were always the French, because they're beautifully converted and painted armies. So that was one of our tasks this year, is to go on with the painting and make their life a bit harder to win this prize, which is why you painted my Tau, basically. Because the Tau player we have is not a very good painter, so he's gonna take that army.
Okay.
Just so it's better painted and we have more chance to win best painted. But yeah, it's an important part of the hobby. Also, you get sportsmanship at ETC, so that's also an important prize to give away there.
So it's not just compete; it's
No,
part. It's the hobby.
It's the whole thing of the hobby, but the games are of course the most important aspect. Yeah.
So I think thanks a lot for.
Yeah, no worries. I hope to one day be able to see you there at the ETC.
Yeah,
why not?
With the 2 kids and it's difficult.
There was
I don't think my wife is still prepared to say I go to
for 3 days. Why not?
I don't know. Yeah. Maybe if I can start committing. First, I have to commit myself to train with the rest of the
Maybe it was in France. So 2 years ago it was supposed to be held in France, but yeah, because the problems with their venue didn't go through. This year Spain put up a bid, so if it's a bit closer to home, why not?
Okay.
Maybe we can just come for one day to have a look how it is.
Yeah.
Walk around.
If it's closer, maybe one day is moving.
Czech Republic next year. You just take your wife on a vacation and you come have a look. Why not?
We'll see. Well, for me, it's interesting to see how it's going on.
Yeah, I never had so much fun, and it's becoming more of a target each year. Just to go to the ETC, you know, you train like 8 or 9 months just to be.
So it's like a convention also to meet like friends and.
Yeah, exactly. I met so many great people over the years that I just want to go there and see them again and have some beers and whatnot and go out in the evening, because that's also part of the ETC that's very important, is going out after the games. Like last year, I don't think I was in bed before 4 in the morning.
And then next day, when the time will you start?
8. So
how many games is ETC?
So it's two games per day on 3 days. So you have 6 games in total, 2 games per day. So it's really relaxed. You have 4 hours and a half per battle.
So it's not the stress like a normal tournament where you have to do 3 to 4 games in one day.
You have 4 hours and a half per battle. So you can take the time to consult with your opponent, go grab a beer, go grab a cigarette together, take everything very easy, think about your turns. So it's a whole different
Okay.
kind of play.
It's not the
actually.
time pressure that you
No,
have.
exactly, yeah, exactly, yeah. So it helps you also to develop your game, so which is why I like it also so much.
No.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah, this is not working very well. I was thinking, why not to do this in normal tournaments? Normally, people wants to go only one day,
yeah,
but maybe sometimes it's good to have also tournaments where you have more time to do.
yeah, of course, yeah. When we do tournaments now, especially in sixth, where time is such an issue, we try to extend the time a little. And instead of finishing at 6, finishing at 7 in the evening.
Okay.
That's already 20 minutes per battle. You have more, so I think it's becoming more and more important. And we'll see how 7 goes, because I think it will be even slower there. So
Let's see.
we'll have to wait for the rules.
I'm more optimistic on the 7 nation. We lost the screen.
Still don't know yet.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit skeptic. I have to see it first, and then I'll believe it. But
I hope to still see you on the table.
I will still play casually, but maybe tournament playing I will
And Orcs, I think is going to be one of the next,
release.
maybe Blood Angels and Orcs or something
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
after the 7th edition.
Yeah.
If the rumors are okay.
There's a rule book and then the new Orca.
New Orc.
So,
But I don't think it will be on time for ETC then.
no, of course not. No.
Okay, so thanks a lot
You're
for your
welcome.
time
Yeah.
and good explanation on the ETC.
Yeah. If you have more questions, whatnot.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can.
Yeah, and I invite everybody to have a look at our website, which is teambelgium.eu, where you can have a look at our articles.
I will put down on the
Yeah, the link. And
on
we
the
also
link.
have our team selection explained there. We have a lot of links, so everybody can have a look.
So please look the link I will put there in the comments below. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope this interview has been interesting for you, and see you again later.
And
So,
cheers.
bye.